This is WVTM 13. Breaking news is happening right now.
Welcome in. We start this midday with that breaking news as we continue our coverage of Saturday's tragic mass shooting in Birmingham.
Let's get you caught up. First, we have some good news to report. 12 people who were hurt in that shooting are now out of the hospital. 5 others are still in the hospital recovering. The gunmen who are accused of a hit job remain free at this hour. Local and federal officials say that they've received more than 50 tips in the last 24 hours, and they are now offering a hefty 6-figure reward. Now, early this morning, police released the name of the 4th victim, Roderick Patterson Jr. Also killed were Anitra Holloman, Taj Booker, and Carlos McCain. WVTM 13's Emma Owen joins us live from the scene of the shooting this midday. And Emma, you just heard from the mayor and the police chief during a news conference. What did they have to say about the victims?
Well, Carla, I think it really is important to mention that positive news right off the bat. You have 12 victims who have been released from the hospital, 5 who are still receiving care, though. And in the meantime, there has been an outpouring of support from the community. You can see just here behind me, there is a vigil for the victims right outside where that shooting happened. There are flowers there and candles as well, honoring those who were killed and also injured in this shooting. Now, during today's briefing, Chief Thurman says they've received a lot of tips in this case. People have also sent in surveillance footage. Meanwhile, the FBI and Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama both announced they're offering large rewards. The FBI Birmingham and Crime Stoppers is offering $5,000 each for information that leads to an arrest. And Mayor Randall Woodfin also spoke during today's press conference. He talked with several victims who survived the shooting, and he says this tragedy has taken an emotional toll on them and their families.
I want you all to imagine the other 20 victims, where 4 of them, their families have to pick up the pieces because I or their family can't talk to them. And the other victims as well, who are some still in the hospital and some who have been discharged. If there ever was a time for us to come together as a community, this is the moment.
Now, if you have information in this case, police are asking you to come forward. You can scan the QR code here on your screen. It will take you to the Birmingham Police Department's tip line. And again, you can report information anonymously. And another reminder, Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama and the FBI field office, they're offering a combined reward of up to $100,000 for information in this case. Now, as police continue working with their federal partners to investigate, Mayor Randall Woodfin says their #1 priority remains the same, and that is to get these shooters off our streets. He specifically said he wants to, quote, hunt down, capture, arrest, and convict the people who are responsible. Live in Birmingham, Emma Owen, WVTM 13.
All right, thank you, Emma. Now, the impact of this deadly night is being felt throughout the community, and that includes the UAB football program.
Head coach Trent Dilfer telling us about the impact on his team.
We personally have a player who was affected by it. I don't want to share details, but so it's touched our program. But it also reinforces why we built this thing for something bigger than football. It was an opportunity to talk to our players, reinforce why we're trying to build men that will have a positive impact on our communities, especially the city of Birmingham. We obviously have issues with violence. We feel like our kids here, as they grow in the program, can be role models to young kids in the city, that there's an alternative. So that's something we're able to talk to our players about.
And there are 17 shooting victims who survived Saturday. Among them is Gabriel Eslami. He was hit from behind when gunfire erupted outside the Hush Lounge. Eslami says he feels lucky, but he also hurts emotionally knowing he made it, but several others did not.
Yeah, Eslami expected Saturday to go much differently than it did. Now, before the shooting, he and his former classmates were enjoying a reunion, reconnecting over a picnic. After that, they decided all to go out together, and as they waited to get into Hush Lounge, that's when the shots rang out. Eslami ran, but within seconds couldn't feel his leg and fell to the ground. He had been shot on his backside. His friend helped him up, and a woman working at a nearby diner applied pressure to the wound. Shortly after, his friend rushed him to the hospital.
Knowing that people woke up yesterday, not knowing that was their last day. Families woke up yesterday not knowing they're about to lose their son or their daughter yesterday, and parents having to bury their own child. I mean, that's every parent's nightmare. And seeing people even just had laid eyes on, and not even really honestly known, just on the ground. And even when I was in the hospital, seeing just the aftermath of people in there, people beside me, people on the stretchers going by, on the gurneys, seeing their injuries, just like, I mean, how do you do that? I don't get it.
Islami is now recovering at home. Doctors told him the bullet went into his backside and out of his thigh, and it was millimeters away from a major artery. You can imagine what that would have done. He says it's scary, acknowledging how close he was to death.
And business owners in 5 Points South are concerned about how the shooting will affect the area. Pintu Sirma is the general manager of Bayleaf. He's owned the restaurant for 5 years. He says more than a dozen people called to cancel their reservations the night after the shooting. Sirma says his community doesn't feel like home anymore.
It used to be very nice before, like 2-3 years back. It was beautiful. It's very nice. Business was very good, but right now, I would say hellhole.
He hopes that they can find answers for this string of violence. He wants 5 Points South to thrive once again.
And we asked police if ShotSpotter played a role in the investigation into Saturday night's shooting. They tell us there are no ShotSpotters in that area. The crime-fighting tool has been in question. Some of the nation's largest cities are dropping the service altogether. Here in Birmingham, since 2019, police have investigated nearly 800 murders. And with deadly numbers like that, city leaders say the high-tech crime-fighting tool is worth the investment.
I don't think that ShotSpotter was ever made to solve homicides. I think that it's made to alert the police department about a location of either gunfire going off or something else happening like fireworks.
It's well worth the money. We've been able to catch people in the act of shooting.
Now, based on our research, since 2007, Birmingham has spent more than $9 million on ShotSpotter sensors. We investigated the effectiveness of ShotSpotter technology, and you can find that full story on our website right now. And again, as far as that mass shooting on Saturday night, there is a large reward being offered for information that leads to an arrest, $100,000. Birmingham police have an evidence portal, and this QR code on your screen has the link to it and the ways to get in touch with Crime Stoppers as well to provide your anonymous tips. We also have the latest developments and a timeline of Saturday night's mass shooting, so be sure to download the WVTM 13 app.